stream, and we'll just do a quick mic check. And then I hear your TV, Fathead.
My TV?
Yeah,
I don't have my TV up though.
I hear something.
Oh, is it my headset?
I don't know. Are you listening to like Belichick or something?
No, I got my AirPods in as I playing the show, and I got my PlayStation headset in.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha. I'm hearing something. Yeah.
yeah, hold on, let's see. Yeah. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is it better now? Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right. Let me. I think we're all straight away. All right. Let's get to it. Let's see. Let's have some fun today. Yo, what it do, GG Nation, GG Legion, it's your fella again, Strauss fan, the GG. Welcome to another episode of GG and Friends, episode 69. Giggity, for sure. The eve of no E3 is what I like to call it. We're about to hit June. June 1st starts tomorrow, and what's that usually mean? Usually means E3, so this is kind of the summer of no E3. Obviously, it has been canceled. I know it's usually a big time for all of you, and including myself. I usually love E3, covering E3, and just watching all the presentations, but it has, sadly, and has changed quite a bit, good and bad. I mean, information is just so different nowadays. Anyway, how things are covered, how you can announce a game instantly through Twitter or their own YouTube channels and stuff like that. The game has changed, no pun intended. But hey, I got Skip to my Lou with me. We're going to have some fun here, guesstimating, what we think's going on. There is a State of Play Thursday after I think Summer Game Fest actually happens. I don't remember the time of the Microsoft show. That's sometime this month. I think it's like the 16th or something. But we're going to try to cover all that. I'm going to try to do a live reaction to the State of Play as well. Last time I had my family in town, so I wasn't able to cover that. And I saw that some of you were lukewarm, and we'll talk about that in a second. But how you doing, Lou? Thanks for joining me today. Let's have some fun.
Good to be here on the 69th episode. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah.
All right.
But let's have some fun, and let's get into Mr. Geoff's show himself, the Summer Games Fest, which has kind of been the quote-unquote replacement for E3. They've been doing Summer Games Fest for quite a bit now. I mean, third, fourth year going, I think, now. They published the lineup of what they're going to have, then pretty much all the big guns: Atlus, Sega, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft. I think I might have saw Square, Bandai Namco, 2K. It's quite impressive. It's like over 30 plus publishers. I don't know if you got to see that, but let's start there. First off, what have you thought about Summer Games Fest in the past before, and how do you feel going into this summer of no E3? Are you feeling lukewarm, expectations low on announcements, or you're hoping for some bangers? For sure.
I don't know what to feel, to be quite honest. I'm kind of just letting this year ride. Because last year I was so into E3. And there's basically no E3 this year. Actually, there isn't an E3. Yeah. And it's kind of replaced with Summer Game Fest. And Jeff sounds like he's going to have a bang of a show. But he makes everything sound like it's going to be fantastic. So I'm just kind of in the middle here. I don't know what to expect. Before I was kind of hoping for bigger things, but
Yeah.
you never really know. I'm just gonna be in the middle, just be like whatever happens, happens. You know.
Yeah.
So
That's a lot of great points, man. Jeff is a great promoter, whether it's the Summer Game Fest or it's his own Game Award show, which is a lot of people think that's like the only Game Award show on the planet.
yeah.
But the one in December that everyone really seems to love. But some of those shows have been lukewarm recently as well. But they've also had some really good um, has some really good ones as well. Some big announcements before Summer Games Fest. I think the big one last year was Elden Ring, wasn't it? It was like the first gameplay.
Yes.
I think that was
Yep.
supposedly the big one. Hopefully, there's more than that. I mean, I'm hoping there's good potential. I'm with you. I've always kind of felt this way though. Recently, ever since Sony walked away from E3, that kind of be lukewarm on things. Don't really try to get too high, too low on expectations because these people are good at their job. They're good at promoting. They're good at doing things potentially. But hopefully there's some big reveals. Go ahead.
This is a good time for Microsoft
Yes.
to really show something here because Sony seems very quiet. Nintendo is kind of very quiet. I mean, I think they got Splatoon 3 coming out, right? And they got the Striker game this summer. But, this is their moment to really show what's coming to Microsoft and what's coming to the Xbox.
That's a great point. I think actually this is the best time. Summer is going to belong to Nintendo. They got the new Fire Emblem Dynasty Warriors game coming out. They got Strikers. They got Splatoon 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. They're going to own the summer. This summer is going to be dominated by Nintendo, which is good or bad, depending if you just own a PS5 or a Xbox Series X. Most people own both anyway, but if you're feeling like you need something to play, Nintendo's got you covered. Great point, though. I think Microsoft has a lot to... We already know of, some things being pushed back. They got a lot to kind of prove at this show. Let's talk about Summer's Game Fest, because Microsoft obviously is having their own conference here. But I'm with you. Not trying to be too high, too low on a lot of things for Jeff Keighley. You mentioned, I think yesterday, he's hanging with Kojima. Could be an announcement, could be nothing. We kind of already know Death Stranding 2 is in the works anyway.
We already know Kojima is a troll anyway, so you know how he is.
Yep,
right. he likes to stir the pot and get people talking. So
yeah. What are you feeling in the terms of is there like any real possibility here of something big for Sony at Summer Games Fest? Something besides the state of play, and we're going to talk about the state of play, in coming in a few minutes here. But what do you expect? Anything from the big three at Jeff Keighley's show? Let's just put it that way. Anything from the big three, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony.
Okay, so Microsoft show is the 9th, right? They're having their own. Xbox is having their own presentation the 9th, right? So I'm trying to figure this out in my head. When is Keighley's show? Is it the 9th as well?
It's next Thursday. Not this coming Thursday, obviously state of play, but the Thursday after. So I don't know if that's the 9th. That could be it. You could be right. It could be the same day.
Gosh. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'm not near a calendar. So I expect something for PlayStation at least.
Mm-hmm.
I do expect something. I think the Last of Us remake is basically done. I think we see something, and I think he announces it.
That's a good call.
We talk about the state of play, and I can't really get too much into it, but they pretty much, when they say that their state of play is this, it is this. And there's no surprise. There's nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, well, this is what we gave you. You shouldn't be disappointed. And if you read what they said in their blog,
mm-hmm.
they said it was going to be VR and it was going to be third party.
Mm-hmm.
So they may have a surprise there, but I wouldn't bet the house on it or bet the farm. So I'm thinking more of that his show is going to have something for us to be excited about until September's PlayStation show. So I do think PlayStation will have something. Nintendo does their own thing. They don't need to be a Keighley show. You know, his show is basically, I would say, is the third party like big reveals.
Yeah.
What I think is gonna be. So Atlas is gonna have something there. It sounds like, which is supposed to have something soon, right? They're
They,
supposed to reveal a new game or something, or never a new
Sega's
IP.
revealing a game next week.
Is it
Tomorrow. I think tomorrow Sega's revealing a new game, a new complete, supposedly a new
complete new
IP.
IP? Yeah. So who knows? Maybe Persona surprises will be a Keighley show. Uh, what was it? They're supposed to still have 7 announcements. How many they've had already? Like two?
Like one or two, yeah. It's been like one or two, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
yeah,
kind of
I
been
mean,
lukewarm on that front. You're kind of right about that. You've
I
made
mean,
several great points there. I mean, excellent points. Sony's state of plays generally tell you what it's going to be. I know people always want a little bit more. It's the showcase in September that tends to be the big one where it's like, oh shit, there's a lot of, crazy reveals that we never expected. Project Eve, Wolverine was announced. Nobody even knew about that game. That was completely zip tight. Nobody completely knew about Wolverine at all. Like there was no leak or anything on it. So
nope.
they do a pretty good job keeping things close to the chest. You make a great point with Last of Us. That could be a good thing to show at Summer's Game Fest, or maybe I think it's way too early probably to do a teaser of Death Stranding 2, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I think. It sounds like from
maybe
Norman
that
Reedus.
Silent Hill game we mentioned
Yeah.
to me the other
But the way
day.
that-
Maybe it's that maybe because he's been tied to Silent Hill a lot, Kojima.
Yeah, it's. So I think that Stranding's too early. Norman Reedus basically said that they were gonna start doing voiceovers, right? I think that's what he said.
They already started
They
doing.
spoiled-
They just started working on it now, like mocap and stuff. I think.
Yeah, so I don't think I think that's about another year or two away.
Yeah.
But see, PlayStation. Here's the thing with PlayStation. For PlayStation, there's so many rumors about so many different projects, like that Twisted Metal game, right?
Yes. Yes.
Sly
Yes.
Cooper 5, all this type of stuff.
Infamous.
Infamous, I don't know which one's true and I don't know which one is not, but they don't have to hold off Last of Us into the PlayStation showcase. Like, if they can give Jeff Keighley one or two things and still have like 6 or 7 things to reveal
Yeah,
in this showcase.
You're on it, man. I think you're hitting the nails on the head on everything here. That's such a smart thing. I'm interested to see. Could it be factions instead? Because we've been waiting forever for factions, right? From Last
Well,
of
we're
Us
still
Part
waiting
2.
on Naughty Dog, right? Like, we're waiting on Naughty Dog, and they supposedly have factions and a remake, and they're working on their own game.
Yep.
Then
And
you got
supposedly there's another remake too. They're working on.
Some PlayStation studio has Uncharted in mind.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much that PlayStation is working on that they don't need. Like I said, they don't need to. They could give Keighley like 2 or 3 things and make his show banging. Make his show great, and then still have a great show at the showcase. And it doesn't have to necessarily be like we all know God of War is coming. That is coming. That's going to be their big game. The end of this year. Then they got Final Fantasy, and then Forspoken is going to be their game. They got so much that they can just cover going forward. Keighley can get a couple of things there. So yeah, I mean, it's PlayStation. I'm not worried about their future. Like I already know that they're going to be set. Seems like they got everything set for the next 4 years, right?
It seems like they're pretty loaded. There's going to be a lot of surprises, man. I think from Sony. Sony's going to have some. Not saying particularly Summer Game Fest. I think just in general of this year, there's going to be a lot of surprises that blow you away, and I think a lot of people are going to be very excited. This Summer Games Fest, I I don't know. I'm kind of with you. They probably will give Jeff something. It could be the Silent Hill thing. Could be Last of Us. Could be Factions. Could be like a remake. It could be like Sly Cooper. Something like that. It could be something a little bit smaller, even though that would make us really happy, Sly Cooper. Like, that'd be fucking insanely awesome.
But they're working on so much, though. Like, that's been rumored. It's like they don't need to, like, they can, save it for their showcase, obviously.
Yes.
But they're working on so much. I would be surprised if they didn't, in particular, show something to get the fans excited for over the summer. And then, leading up to their showcase, which is why I think it would be Last of Us Remake or the Factions. So,
yeah,
okay.
What about Microsoft? What do you think are they gonna have at Jeff Keighley Showcase? Anything? The Indiana Jones game? We haven't seen anything but a teaser of that for 2 years?
Then next 10 days, however long Summer Game Fest lasts, is going to be very interesting to me. Because we talked a lot about it on the pod. There's a point where you have to, as Microsoft, like, you can't keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. The time is coming. This is your time now. Tell me what's coming from Microsoft. It has to be like, and I'm going to say one thing. I'm pretty sure they're going to show the next Gears game soon. I feel like that's going to be a thing.
I think so too. I think it's time for a new Gear. I know they're technically working on a new IP, but I think it's time for a Gear 6, or at least a teaser of it, I think.
Yeah, but just don't give me Gears though. Like, Gears is good. Like, don't get me wrong, that's one of their, the A tier games or S tier games, however you want to put it.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. It's very much what I've said on the pod before. I kind of want to see some new and something different. Like, not the same shit. But I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard because they got so many studios and there's so many problems we're hearing of Perfect Dark, Fable. We're hearing problems of was it Everwild, the other Rare game they're working on? We're hearing, we don't know, we haven't seen anything about Indiana Jones. They've been really quiet. Like, what about the season 2 of Halo? It seems like you go on Twitch and nobody plays Halo. There's like nobody streaming it. So, like, how are they bringing that back? Are they gonna have a season 2? Are they gonna add more story stuff? Because I get the gist of Halo, that people were just happy that it was Halo and didn't care about the story and stuff as much because they've just been waiting forever and they're just happy to have Halo back, which is fine, but I always kind of want more. And that's kind of the insatiable hunger I have, and I think that's what Sony and Nintendo do really well. Is they constantly are making newer IPs and things that satisfy, even for a little bit, my hunger. Go ahead.
PlayStation has really has really just made us like, and I don't want to say it in this way, but I can't think of another way to put it, but they made us really spoiled. Yeah. Like, we are, in terms of like games, like, think of all the games that came out this year, right? What was it? Horizon, Gran Turismo. I mean, they had a banger of the first 3 months.
Yes.
Of the year, and this is kind of the most quiet that they've been.
Returnal, Ratchet,
Yep. And with Microsoft, you kind of have to look at it like, okay, well, Halo and Gears, they were riding on for a while. They acquired these studios, Bethesda.
Starfield's got pushed back now, so we're not. We'll probably see more of it, but it's being pushed, which is good, Bethesda, I think.
Yeah, but Bethesda, we're gonna see what they bring to the table. Last year when they acquired them and they had their showcase, they showed a lot of games, and one of it was Outer Worlds. They said that they were making a sequel of.
Yes, Outer Worlds 2, yes.
And Xbox is good at showing, like, teaser trailers, and the game's not in, like, development yet.
They've done
You
it a
know what
lot.
I mean?
They did it with Fable. They did it with Everwild. They did it with Indiana Jones, and then they did
Yeah.
it with Outer Wilds too, like you said. So
Whereas like PlayStation, like they're gonna show you what they're working on currently,
mhm.
and not what they're going to work on.
Yeah,
So this is why PlayStation is so exciting, and Nintendo. You know, we know what's coming with Nintendo, right? Zelda,
Mario,
Mario.
so yep,
And we know what's coming, and it's those games that keep us the nostalgia in us,
yes.
and we hunger for that.
But they also
So
have the nice surprises too. You know, the Metroid Dreads, um, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I didn't expect that to come out this year, and it's coming out really
yep,
soon. Like it's like they announced it, and it's like boom. The only thing they're missing was they're doing the wrong Fire Emblem game in my personal. They're not doing a sequel yet or um, a new or a remake or something. They're doing a
yeah,
Warriors game, which I don't hate. I don't want to make it seem because those games have a place in the universe, um, but Splatoon 3, it's a nice it's things you expect. Um, but I want to ask you this. What's up, Joel? How are you doing, bud? I want to ask you this because you're a big Mafia fan. We've been having Mafia 4 rumors, Mafia remake, or like Mafia 4 prequel rumors flying around. And Take 2/2K is here at Summer Games Fest. Do you think that's a potential reveal here, or is it a little too soon? You got to keep it in the oven right now.
you know, 2K is very. They usually don't show things until it's ready.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've heard about Mafia sounds like they're working on it right now.
Mm.
So I would be surprised. You know, that's a good question because, yeah, I would be surprised if they showed something. But then again, I really wouldn't be surprised because it
Mm.
seemed like that they were leaning into this mafia style going forward,
Yeah,
right?
resurgence of Mafia coming
they,
back. Yeah. The
yeah, they
definitive
did the
edition did really well,
remake.
too, I think, right?
Yeah, they did the remake and they did the remaster of two, which I would like them to do a remake of two somewhere down the line because two was very good, like one. But I wouldn't be able to tell you because two they're so weird with the way that they release games.
They're
Like
very
oh, another
mysterious,
Bioshock.
yes.
Yeah, we know another Bioshock game is coming,
Yeah,
and we haven't seen anything of it. And it's the
nothing.
same thing with Borderlands 3. Like, when Borderlands 3 came out, it was like, we all knew it was coming. Well, what's going on with that game? Oh, it's ready. Now we want to show it. You know what I mean? We know GTA, the next GTA is coming out, right?
Yes, yeah,
And we haven't heard anything.
yeah.
Not a screenshot, not an idea. And it's been like this for, what, 10 years?
Yeah, it
So,
feels like it very much so. Yeah.
I, at some point, we got to see that game soon.
You
We
would
gotta
figure,
see
man.
GTA 6.
You would
Maybe.
figure.
Yeah.
What about?
Hey,
Can we see potentially from Remedy? I'm just throwing some ideas out there for summer games because these seem like games to me that could potentially be here, but it's still kind of a if factor. What
yeah.
about Alan Wake 2 or any of the Max Payne remakes at all here?
I
Do you
do
think
think
we
we
see some
see
Alan
Alan
Wake
Wake.
2 gameplay?
Yes. Yes, I think we see what a potential target release date.
I'm gonna say
Uh,
October for that game for some reason because they said they're leaning in on horror, right? So that's kind of what
yeah.
I'm thinking.
The way that one of the last things I read, and it was a while ago, that they expected to come out spring of 2023.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, wow, that's way too soon.
but
No, I'm thinking then.
but you know what though? Like it was so long ago. Maybe that was just an idea.
Mm.
Maybe it does come out this year.
Well, I don't know how
You
big
know?
they are. I don't know how big that studio is. They are
Yeah.
working on 3 projects, probably 4. Um, so that's a good point. But I don't know. Like I feel like Alan Wake 2. It's time to see some gameplay of that a little bit more. I feel like that could potentially be here. That's kind of another one of those games I feel like could be here. I'm trying to think what potentially Bandai Namco would show. Maybe the Elden Ring DLC, because that's such a hot thing right now. And we know Elden Ring DLC is going to be a thing for sure. Bandai Namco has always done it, even with Bloodborne.
Yep.
Which technically is, Sony and Miyazaki teaming up for that one, and From Software. So, but they always done it with everything but Sekiro. Sekiro was like the one thing they didn't like do DLC on. But I feel like Elden Ring, because it is a traditional Souls game, I feel like there's gonna be DLC. There's a lot of hints. People keep discovering new things every day in that game. The game's massive. It's a lot bigger than you expect it to be. And people are always finding new creative ways to kill bosses and do speed runs and stuff in that game. It's pretty fun. But I feel like I'm trying to think of Tales of Arise potentially, like DLC. I'm shocked they haven't done more crossover DLC. They did a crossover with Sword Art Online, which is another Bandai Namco thing. They also did a crossover. I think they should do a crossover. They kind of did crossover a little bit, but they should do like a crossover DLC with why is I'm losing train of thought? I love the game. Scarlet Nexus, because they kind of already did like free crossover stuff on both games. But they said they weren't gonna do any story DLC for Tales of Arise, but money talks. This is the best-selling Tales of game. It has a great ending, so I understand why not doing more to it. Another thing I could potentially think of, which I don't know if they're going to lean into doing more crossover DLC for Tales of Arise. For Bandai Namco, another thing I could think of is potentially news of that new My Hero Academia game coming over, that Battle Royale one they were doing that Japan had a beta only of. Maybe they have a West beta for it. They could potentially also do Demon Slayer DLC release dates here, because we know there's more characters coming to the Demon Slayer game. So, I mean, there's potential. It's the thing that's kind of the exciting thing, and it's also kind of not the exciting thing, is there is a lot of potential in this Summer Games Fest, because we just really don't know. And it's just whether things are ready to go and ready to be shown, and who has what, who has the big piece of the pie. Another one I want to ask you about, I don't know, I think it's time. I started playing it a lot again, is Mortal Kombat 11. What about NetherRealm? Like, is there, in WB, is there another opportunity? Like, Jeff Keighley was able, for the Game Awards, to get Mortal Kombat 11 announcement quite a few years ago. Are we getting Mortal Kombat 12? Are we getting Injustice 3? Do we see something from NetherRealm here from Jeff Keighley? He has a really close relationship with another troll, Ed Boon, the head of NetherRealm Studios in Chicago up there. So I'm wondering, I'm kind of leaning towards there might be some sort of news there. What do you think? Or do you think WB is too much of a mess, or are they going to show more Harry Potter or something else?
I think they'll show more Harry Potter. God, they're such a mess over there. I couldn't even tell you what exactly is going on. Like, out of everything that I read over the year, like, they want to sell some of the studios. They want to sell. I wouldn't be able to tell you anything, and it sounds like they're still in that dilemma. Mm-hmm. That's still a problem over there, and it sounds like the Harry Potter thing got the good to go. But
had its own state of play not too long ago either.
Yeah, I just wouldn't be able to tell you. Like, it's just, they're so difficult. I saw them on the list. Yeah. Before we got in here, I saw them on the list, and they commented, "We'll see you soon." It's about time for another Injustice game, I would say.
Yeah. That or Mortal Kombat, or the dream game, Mortal Kombat 12, where just bring everybody back, bring all 100 characters back.
See, I was going to ask you, do you think a collab or a studio purchase is revealed at Keighley's Reward Show?
That's a good idea. I would assume no.
We got all these studios, right, that are supposedly up for sale, partnership. Like, yep. EA is up there for a partnership. The wording is very weird. They want a partnership,
Yes.
but they wouldn't mind being bought. And Apple's like the leading go-getter for EA right now,
What's up,
which is
Chad?
going to be weird. Playing Dragon Age on the iPad. But
EA loves that mobile game money, man. That Diablo
yeah,
Immortal and all that. Call of
but
Duty. That's
it,
Activision. Sorry.
you have all these Square was rumored to be. It's been rumored for like the last year or two that
For
they're going to be
Sony,
bought by
yeah.
Sony. Ubisoft is up there apparently. WB is I don't know what the fuck is going on over there. Do we see something soon? Do we see something at Keeley's award show? Do
I,
they, you know?
I wouldn't expect it at the award show because I think he wants to rattle off the game announcements. Potentially at Microsoft's press conference, maybe you'll see a tweet from Sony. Likes to tweet out their acquisitions a lot. Obviously Bungie, Firesprite, the Returnal team, House Marquee. They've been scooping up studios left and right here. Both of those guys for sure. But I just don't expect it. I wouldn't expect it here because he just never done it before. Doesn't mean it won't happen. I just don't think I would see it personally. I just don't feel. I'm not feeling it in my gut that they're going to do that here. But go ahead.
Well, they revealed last year at his show, right? That PlayStation bought the the Volge team, or I can't remember the name. I shouldn't say I can't remember the name. I don't know how to pronounce the name. But they bought that one team. Yeah, something, right? It was something like that they bought last year at Keeley's show.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. I think there was some Devolver news, but I don't remember.
Or they partnered with PlayStation. There was something to that at his show last year.
That's a good point. You're talking. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about that Call of Duty team, that new studio. They left Activision, and they formed a team. And Sony's first is going to get first dibs on their game. Same thing with Jade Raymond before they brought him in. I forgot what their name was, though. I don't remember the name. It wasn't Devolver. Devolver's another studio, another game. But you're kind of right. That was kind of there. I kind of forgot about that. So maybe something smaller, nothing larger. I wouldn't expect EA, Warner Brothers, anything like that. Potentially, I think the Square thing will be a spectacle if it happens. Sony's gonna roll out the red carpet. If that does happen, you'll see it probably at the showcase. I would say in September, because that's where they could rattle off a bunch of shit right there. Boom. I don't see anything huge, but you made a great point. You made a great point. Maybe a smaller studio that we don't know of partners with Sony, partners with Microsoft, partners with Nintendo. That could be a possibility. Sony's been very aggressive about that. So I think that could be now that you swayed my opinion, I think that could be a potential thing now. Because I forgot about that. I really did. And maybe we'll actually see their game. Maybe that's one of the news, one of the games Jeff Keighley got. Maybe we'll actually finally see what they're working on. Because that was quite a bit ago. So I'm assuming they have more than concept now. I'm sure they've been working on something. Let's talk about Microsoft's big show. So we already know Starfield pushback, Redfall pushback. Obviously, we're going to see some there. I think Gear 6 is a potential. Halo Season 2. Are we going to see any other big surprises? You mentioned this was their time. They're going to have the big spotlight. It sounds like it's going to be a long show with Bethesda. Like, 40 minutes, I think they said?
Yeah.
Something like a big... You finally got a Switch, Joel? That's awesome, man. Something potentially, could happen. Maybe we see the Indiana Jones game, something. I don't know. What are you expecting from Microsoft besides, or do you just really expect it's just Gear 6 and more Starfield footage and stuff like that?
So I expect from Microsoft at the very least, maybe we see Gear 6 and we see Halo Season 2.
Mm.
Um, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like,
No,
I don't know
what's the
what
next Forza? Would it be Forza 9?
is it? I don't know.
Was 8 the last one? I don't remember. The last one was Forza Horizon, like 5 or something. But they used to every other year have, the regular one and then
Yeah.
the fun one and then the regular one and the fun. I don't want to say like it's not fun for the car because I'm loving Gran Turismo. And, that's not one where you're driving all over the place off road and stuff. It's a more tactical racer, stuff like that. And that's pretty much how Forza is what the OG one anyway, the numbered one. It's potentially for that. What about Fable and Hellblade or anything like that, Lou? Like, we haven't seen Perfect Dark. Are we going to see any of these?
Well, the fabled, what was it? Perfect Dark Team, right?
Director
they
left.
announced something recent. They announced something recently, right? Yeah, director left.
Game director
So
left, yeah. You know?
that's not good.
No.
It's not good at all. But the show's got to go on, and maybe we see something from Hellblade. I just wouldn't be able to take because those are games that were like when they were announced. It's like, oh
A
well,
while ago.
they're not.
Like a while
Yeah, they're
ago,
not.
yeah. We did
They're
see
not.
some Hellblade gameplay, I think, last Jeff Keighley Game Award show.
Yeah,
I think we did, but I think we need to see more. I think we need to say Fable, but you're right. There's so many question marks. I would like a Banjo-Kazooie remake. I don't think they're doing that. A Conker remake would be great. They're not doing that. They got 26 studios. Maybe we see Outer Worlds 2. I would like to see this Indiana Jones game. There has been some talk that it's not exclusive anymore. That it's coming out for everything.
really.
Yeah. There's some talk that it might actually come out for all consoles. Obviously, probably besides Switch, but like everything, like Sony and stuff. So
Yeah,
that's pretty interesting too. So that means the contract fell through, and they might have not wanted to pay for all of it because they are spending a shit ton of money on acquiring a bunch of other studios. They've been very aggressive. But there's been talk about that the Indiana Jones game might not be.
that would be surprising to me.
That'd
That
be.
would be.
I'm interested to see what the hell that's gonna look like anyway. Like, is that gonna be a very Tomb Raider centric, Uncharted type game? I'm assuming, yeah, because those games are inspired by Indy, right? But what new interesting ideas are they gonna bring to the table? Or maybe you don't need to. It's freaking Indiana Jones and people love it, right? So we haven't had an indie game since what? Super Nintendo? No, Wii. I think Wii, right?
Does you think Square? I didn't see if they were on there. You think Square makes an appearance here? You think we see something? You think we see something like Kingdom Hearts related, Final Fantasy, anything like that from them?
I would assume if we're gonna see Final Fantasy VI, because we're supposed to see something spring, summertime. I think September still falls in summertime. I think we could potentially see Final Fantasy 16 at Sony's State of Play. Potentially.
So you think they would hold that off for Sony? You don't think that that would make it on Keighley's show?
No, I don't think so. I feel like Forspoken might be on Keighley's show. Because they got to keep promoting that game for is it October or September? It's releasing.
Yeah, there was that rumor going around that Final Fantasy
flipped.
got moved up.
Yeah, that flipped. Yeah, which would be
and
interesting.
Forspoken got moved. Yeah, it would be.
I think it's time to hear for Final Fantasy 16 and God of War Ragnarok, but I don't know if they technically be at the state of play said third party title. So I'm thinking, Capcom. I'm thinking Resident Evil 8. Village DLC, maybe RE4 remake. Maybe that's
we
too
don't
big to
see-
think about. But I think
If we don't s-
we might see those things soon. Because Capcom, they want to release, I think, like 20-something games in the next, like, 3 years or something. So we need to start finding out some of these, right?
If we don't see anything soon with Final Fantasy God of War, I assume that they'll be next year. They'll be coming out next year. If they're going to be quiet over the summer, I just don't see them announcing in September, oh, the game's coming out in November. I mean, they could. You know, they could do that. There's so much hype around, Final Fantasy and God of War.
PS4, when they announced the release date, it came out 3 months after.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that window is not as small as people think. Like, so they could do a 3-month hype fest for it, because people are already hyped. You already have, people are just waiting to throw pre-order money to get the statue or whatever. You already sold people on that game. Good point, Joel. We'll talk about Bayo 3 when we get to Nintendo. But they're ready for it. They're just waiting. Final Fantasy 16, we haven't seen much. This next time, they said, when we see you again, you're going to see all of it. You're going to see what the hell they've been working on for a long time, how the actual combat system is going to go, how things work, how the world works, how the characters work. Next time we see 16, it's going to be ready to go, but I think it will not be a short window like God of War. I think that will be like you said, 2023. But I think it's time to see it, just from the facts that they've been saying about it. The game director, one of the Final Fantasy celebrations is like, yeah, we're like ready to go. We're just waiting.
Yeah.
So they're polishing the game. They're taking the polish very seriously, which is good, which you need to do with a big open world type Final Fantasy games like that. I don't know if we see anything of Remake 2 or anything anytime soon, to be honest with you. I think it's all 16 right now. And maybe. I mean, there is a Final Fantasy anniversary coming up again, so you never really know. I expect Sony to have some big ones at their show, I hope. But, some of these could trickle into Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest. That's a good point. That's definitely a really good point. Let's talk about the State of Play Thursday, since it's really soon. Since we're kind of on topic already, you made several great points, key points that kind of what they said is probably what going to happen. PSVR 2 and third-party support. But is there a chance for Resident Evil stuff here, Lou? Is there a chance for 16 to be here? Is there a chance for that Call of Duty Warzone? Is it Warzone? Or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, right? I think this is the next leak one. Is there a chance for that?
At the State of Play?
Yeah, for that to be here at the State of Play. Because the rumors is Modern Warfare 2 is supposed to be VR as well. And same thing with Village. Village is going to have some VR support, finally.
I try not to think too big with this because, like I said, years past, they tell you what's coming. Yeah. But I think they're gonna have something there for them. I don't know what it's gonna be. It could be they could just show like Forspoken release date and that's their game. But
they already have the release date for Forspoken. But I get what you mean. Yeah.
Well, there's that rumor going around and everything.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, if they change it up. That's a good point.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say no. Okay. I'm gonna say that we will see a lot of VR stuff. I'll say we'll see Modern Warfare 2 VR. Resident Evil, I think we see something there. We're going to see something with Resident Evil, whether it's here or Keighley show.
Okay. But you're leaning towards more Keighley show, Summer Games Fest?
It's just so... I don't know how to really put it. Like, they're going to have something there.
I feel like that, too. I feel like there's going to be at least one really nice surprise here at State of Play.
Yeah, and I don't want to think too big because we've done this before where we thought big and everything that they said just happened. Like, oh, this is death of state of play. People got disappointed.
Yep.
It was all the game. You know, they had that state of play. What was it?
Harry
Was it
Potter.
early this year? Just third party games. They said just third party, and people were just bashing the fuck out of them because it was not, there was nothing there. Theirs.
Yeah,
So
the Capcom non-Dino Crisis game, but it's dinosaurs anyway.
yeah. So I'm just gonna go with what they said in their blog. I'm gonna
Okay.
because everything that they said has happened. There's been no surprise.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna say it's mostly third party games. There's gonna be some like teaser stuff, but not really too big, I
Okay.
would say. But yeah, it's gonna be a good way to start off the Game Fest. Good way to start off this summer.
I feel like there's potentially one big thing they could have. I think they could have several things, but I'm with you. They tend to generally tell you, but I feel like it's time for Resident Evil. Whether it's even a simple announcement of the PS5 versions of RE3 Remake, RE2 Remake, and 7. I think we need to have something kind of happen here. I want to see some of the Village DLC. I want something to push me, because I have like most of these games downloaded again. Push me back into that.
Yeah.
And I
You son of a bitch.
and I think
Sorry.
I think there is some potential here of that happening, whether it's Summer Game Fest or Sony. But I feel like Sony would nab that, because I remember when they nabbed RE2 Remake, and they had that iconic PS1 console sitting there while the guy was getting eaten by the zombie in the reveal. I feel like they could have some stuff here, whether it's 16, Resident Evil. Maybe we actually see more of Jedi Fallen Order, because that's another big third party. It's not Fallen Order, but Survivor. Because last thing we got was like a teaser trailer. Maybe we see that at Keighley show. That could be another Keighley thing where we actually see the first gameplay of Jedi Survivor.
You think that game's ready? You think that game is like almost done, or is it ready?
I feel like it is, but I don't know. But I feel like it is because they said they were working on that game as soon as the first one came out. That was a couple of years ago now, right? I think it's time to ramp
You think
it up.
that comes out? You think that game comes out wintertime this fall? You think that's a possibility? Or are we looking at maybe early 2023?
I want to say it comes out like holiday, but I feel like it's going to get pushed to early 2023. I feel like I feel like they want to hit that window, get it in here in the fiscal year. I guess the fiscal year goes all the way to March, right? So
yes,
I feel like they want to get it in that cycle there. So I'm going to say a window from anywhere from October to March 2023.
They felt so confident in Jedi Fallen Order that when it went gold, they started working on the sequel.
Yeah.
And that's why I wonder,
My gut is telling me it's like ready to go, but things take time now and they want to have a big marketing campaign. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if, they're basically done with this game and they're working on a third now. Like, it seems like that's kind of the way that they roll, right? It's like, well, we're done with the first game, now we're going to move on and work on the next one because we feel like this one's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Well,
and Respawn's also been
Fallout 3.
I would love to. I think we will in our time in this PS5 Series X generation. But I feel like that's a year or two away for some reason. I don't know why. I could be wrong, and they just Titanfall 3. But I feel like they're really hammering the Star Wars stuff because they know they almost lost the license and they got a good thing going, and they kind of want to milk it a little bit. And I think that's the smarter move right now. I know there was that reports, Microsoft turned down the Marvel IPs, right? And then Sony snatched them up, right? because there was a lot of controversy back then for Spider-Man being only PS4 only, but now we actually kind of know the truth that Microsoft actually turned that down. They didn't want to do. They wanted to focus on their own IP, which I do respect. I do respect that, but I don't know. It's kind of like free money in a lot of ways. But it also could go bad. Square Enix has showed you the bad too, though, like Avengers and Guardians not selling well. But
the other report was the remake that PlayStation's working on, KOTR. They gave it to Microsoft first, right? That's what they gave it to them.
That was a rumor I saw flying around too, that Microsoft had an opportunity, and they said no, which was interesting.
I would love to know Microsoft's thought processes, because I would figure you would want to get as many exclusives as possible.
Yes.
For your console, but they really are milking this Halo, Gears, and Forza thing.
Yep.
They are really just milking these games, and
if it's not broke, don't fix it. Right? That's what they always say. And they do well in it, but they do have some exciting potential. We rattled off a bunch of games. It's just, when the hell are we going to see them? Clearly, they were announced way too early, because they clearly felt pressure to announce these games to get the hype level. Yeah, to get because Sony's just non-stop right now, just killing it with a lot of IPs, bringing back old IPs. And I've mentioned this when we first got our PS5s and we were potting about it, is that I feel like this generation is going to be the generation of a lot of old Sony IP coming back. And it seems like that might be the case. I think that's how they're feeling. If we're getting potentially Sly Cooper, Infamous, Twisted Metal, that's kind of cool. That's kind of awesome that they're coming back. Let's talk about Nintendo, and then we'll finish up the pod with some other third parties. But Nintendo hasn't officially said they're having a Direct this month, right? They haven't officially said anything.
Well, Nintendo Summer speaks for itself.
Yeah, you're right. They got a long list of games that they're going to keep feeding every niche, and we're about to play Mario Strikers very soon here. But you're right. Like, the Summers, it's theirs. They own it. There's nothing they got to worry about. But I'm wondering, because they usually tend to do a Direct around, for E3. We haven't heard anything yet. There's still potential of Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3. Joel made a great point. Or is Bayonetta 3 going to make it this year? In the fall, what's going to happen in the fall for them? Because the summer's fine, but what's happening for the fall? What's the big fall game for Nintendo? How are you feeling about that?
For Nintendo,
you are.
I think they're gonna do something during the summer, like a Direct of their own, and then we'll find out. I think that summer speaks for themselves. They're set. I don't think there's anything that they're gonna really show, a Keighley show. But you never really know. Nintendo, they operate on their own
wavelength.
Yeah, they just. I wouldn't be able to tell you, man. Like, they're just so. You can't predict them. Like, you think that they're making Switchy 2, and then they make an OLED version or whatever.
I still believe the OLED was supposed to kind of be the Switchy 2 a little bit. And they kind of copped out because everybody was having trouble finding chips. So they kind of copped out a little bit. I don't think we get an announcement of a Switchy 2 yet. You're right about that. I think it's going to be later, probably next year. It's going to coincide with Breath of the Wild 2, but there's still some stuff they can announce, like Metroid Prime 4, where we're going to re-see that. Is Star Fox on the horizon? They could still have great potential. That Fire Emblem remake I keep talking about. There's got to be a Mario game in the fall, right? Is it Odyssey 2? Or is it something I feel like they gotta, because there's no Smash Brothers anymore, right? How are they gonna keep extending the switching online? How are they gonna keep improving that, right? I think they still need to they still need to add to that and make that a very reliable service. You know, it is cool to have some of the things. Like it was nice to, since I just upgraded. Shout out to my cousin JJ. We just upgraded to it, and it's nice to get those free expansions. You know, but what's going to happen more in the going on, because you can't settle on, oh, we got a great ass summer, we're okay. Like, they're not thinking that way. They're gonna have something. I just don't know what it is. Is it
Nintendo does though, because they'll just cash in, they'll make their money,
yeah,
and then like there's one thing I said that they probably wouldn't be there. You kind of just brought up an idea for me.
Yeah,
more games that they're gonna reveal for their service, for the expansion that Keighley could reveal.
Yep.
I just don't see a Mario, a Zelda, anything like that being announced other than by them. Like,
yeah,
you know,
their own
direct.
Yeah.
Any of their like exclusives, like just being announced at Keighley's show. Maybe you see gameplay going forward, but of a game that's coming out in the summertime. But like, he's not like they're not going to give Keighley Odyssey 2. I'd be shocked if they get Keighley Odyssey 2. You know, if it came out this year. So
yeah, I'm just speaking in general, whether it's their show or Keighley's thing, because we're getting towards the end of the pod here. Nintendo is interesting. I feel like they got a lot of potential. I do think Switchy 2 is going to happen eventually. I think it coincides with Breath of the Wild 2, though, which is obviously next year. We called that like 300 years ago. It feels like you and me, on a few pods ago.
Yeah.
They're having a great summer. Excellent. I'm very excited for Xenoblade. I'll eventually probably get that Fire Emblem Warriors game probably for Christmas or something. We're getting Strikers really soon. I'm excited to play that with you guys, especially since we can have clubs now and play people online. Splatoon 3 I'm definitely excited to have as well. I love 2. 2 was very fun to play. And JJ and I didn't play enough of it. We only played it on like Nintendo Tuesdays. And I'm excited to really, like, when 3 comes out, I'm going to go more ham on it and like really play it a lot more, because I want to dive in more to it, because it's a really damn fun game. Like, JJ and I had a lot of fun playing it. But obviously, you know, with his work schedule and stuff, we can't play too much. Let's talk about the other third parties right now. Let's talk about, which could be a combination, and you know, we did a good job with some of them already. What about Ubisoft? We haven't really talked about that, about them. They've had a lot of pushbacks. JJ and I are playing the Roller Championship game, their free-to-play game that just came out. Literally, like, just came out less than a week ago. That game's really fun. Really cool. Mostly because I didn't have to pay for it. But it is a really fun game. It's a really fun free-to-play game. But Prince of Persia's in like limbo. We don't know about the next Assassin's Creed yet, except it might be, you know, a games of service. We haven't heard from, what's it called, in forever, Beyond Good and Evil. We haven't heard anything about that in a long effing time. They have that Mario game coming out, right?
Oh yeah, Mario and Rabbids.
Yeah. When the hell is that supposed to come out?
Oh shit. Is it summer?
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was coming out soon.
You might be right. I don't know when that game's coming. So they have that, but I don't think Watch Dogs... I think Watch Dogs is done. I don't think they're doing another one.
If they do another one, they have to rebrand it.
Yeah.
They have to rebrand it from 1 instead of all this weird shit that they're doing with it. Because the first one was a good game, but it was a lie of a game, because it looked so fucking good for what was supposed to be next gen, PS4.
And then when we finally got it, it was disappointing.
Yes. And the online was disappointing. The game was fun. Like, playing the story was fun.
Yeah. But it was
but
it was okay. It wasn't like the most amazing story though. Yeah, but it was
yeah,
fun.
but they could have built off of it. Instead, they did two, and two was weird. And then forget it, Legion. I don't even know what to tell you about Legion. Like they
Yeah,
just got
3 got weird, right? They had a lot of hype.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think that's done. This could potentially be time for another mid Far Cry game. You know, last time we got Far Cry 5, and then a few months after, we announced Far Cry New Dawn. Using the same engine, continuing that story of 5, but playing as a new character. Maybe we'll get that for 6. Maybe it's time for a new spin-off for Far Cry. So maybe I could see that. Prince of Persia is disappointing. That remake looked like it had a lot of great potential. They brought all the original voice cast back to do it, and I don't know what that'll happen. It went to what's it called? Lay Off Hell or whatever, Limbo. You know, it just.
Well, supposedly Ubisoft has some stuff that they want to show, and we talked about this for a while. The Splinter Cell remake.
Good point.
Do we see that? Do we see that anytime soon? Like, I think they made a comment about that. They are working on a remake, right? On Twitter.
They did. I think if we see it, it's not this showcase. It's the Game of the Year stuff in December.
I mean, it's been a minute. Like,
yes, it has. But I don't know when they started working on that. They made it sound like they just effing started. To me, that doesn't sound like it's ready.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm just throwing out ideas because they did say that they have some stuff lined up, Ubisoft, in one of their recent articles that they couldn't wait to reveal. What that is, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but then another one, like, you know, they're supposedly up for sale, and I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They've been lackluster, the last couple of years, right? They really, I mean, Assassin's Creed's been good. But
yeah, Assassin's Creed made like $1 million, man. Valhalla.
Yeah,
it made a lot of money, man. It did. It was a huge success for them. But I don't know, like, how is Extraction? How are the numbers for that? I don't know how that's doing. The roller game ended up becoming free to play, right? Which I'm assuming. Go ahead.
They were selling that Extraction game on release. If you bought it, you got $10 off at GameStop.
Yeah.
So they. You know.
So I'm assuming they'll do some more stuff for Siege and stuff like that. I don't know. I hate to break the hearts of Beyond and Good and Evil fans, but I don't know if we're going to see that game again. Seems like it's in trouble.
I think that game's going to be like Kingdom Hearts 3. That's going to come out 10 years from now.
One game they did that just came to mind when you mentioned that, like Kingdom Hearts and 10 years away, is Skull and Bones. That's supposedly supposed to be revealed again. So I definitely think we see that at the showcase. I think that could be a good potential thing for Ubisoft, but there's a lot of stuff. Is Division 2 done? Did they stop making DLC for that game? I don't know. I don't know where they go.
Did they make a Division 3?
Yeah,
how did that do?
Is it time for Division 3? Like, yeah, it could be, right? I'm kind of with you though. I'm kind of doubtful on that. Because I just don't know. I don't ever hear anybody play 2 at all. What about Sega Atlas? Obviously, I think IGN got the first tidbits of the new Sonic Frontier game. Are we potentially going to see more from Sega? We're obviously seeing a new game tomorrow. But what else? What other old IPs like Crazy Taxi and some other stuff they could bring back? Like, I'm interested to see, are we going to see anything from Atlas or Persona related? I would put it slim to none, to be honest with you guys. Because I really feel like in September, when they said the anniversary party's over, is when they're going to announce Persona 6.
Yeah.
While these other games they're going to be fun. I don't think we'll see a Persona 3 remake here or anything. I think Atlas will do it on their own thing. Or they'll do it on Sony's thing. Because they have a close relationship. I don't know if it's time for like a new Yakuza game already. Like, it might be. Like, they said they've been working on one for a while. So I don't
maybe
know.
next gen, maybe a couple next gen upgrades.
Yeah.
We'll see for a couple of old ones, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Potentially. Go ahead.
Maybe a Persona thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I do want to say I do think Persona 3 remake is going to be a possibility for sure. I think it is happening. But I don't know. I know a lot of people have been feeling very lackluster in the presentation of this year for the 25th anniversary of Persona. Or, a lot of people want news now and they want it all the time, but they're getting a lot of merch and shit. They're just selling merch. They're having shows for merch and stuff. But I do think some of these things are coming, but unfortunately for a Persona and Atlas fan, you got to be patient. If you're not a patient person, you're going to go nuts. You're just going to drive yourself crazy. Luckily, I love a lot of other video games, so we already talked about Bandai Namco and stuff like that. Does EA have anything besides more Star Wars stuff here? They're not having a show. Like, are they going to show the other Star Wars game they're working on?
I don't think I saw them on the list, right?
Dead Space at all? Oh, were they not on the list? Okay.
I don't know. I don't think I saw them on the list, but I think I'll show something for Dead. They might have like their own show. Oh no, they're not doing EA Play this year, right?
Yeah.
They're not doing one, so maybe they have a couple of things. Maybe they have to release date for Dead Space.
What about Need for Speed? Right? There was rumors that they're doing another Need for Speed, right?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. If they're not gonna do an EA Play, and no, yeah,
I think
I could see that.
I think the big one for Activision, we just talked about Call of Duty. I think we're gonna see whether that's Sony Showcase or Jeff Keighley's thing. I think Modern Warfare 2. I think it is a VR thing where you can play it in VR, non-VR. I believe that for Village as well because 7 was in VR, so I think they'll have some VR support. We kind of covered Square already. Capcom, we talked a little bit, mostly Resident Evil stuff. Dragon's Dogma 2 is supposed to be happening. They just opened up an anniversary website for Dragon's Dogma for like the 10-year anniversary, which means Dragon's Dogma 2 is real. We knew about that for a long time. A long time on their earnings report, right? Like some hacker leaked all their stuff. We know it's happening. Are we going to get any Devil May Cry news? I don't know. I think this is more of a year for RE. Again, like they're going to do more. Like if 4 Remake happens, announced this year, it's going to set the internet on fire. So that's kind of what we're thinking. Do you have any like final thoughts at all, Lou, or we're ready to wrap up here?
We're ready to wrap up. I gotta take a shit.
Yeah.
So.
Shout out to
Skip
to my Lou. Let us know down below what you guys and gals are thinking. Make sure you smash the hell of the like button. We appreciate all the love and support. Trying to get you podcasts as much as possible. We're going to do a state of play. Hopefully a live reaction. If not, we are definitely going to be back, Lou and I, and we're going to try to drag JJ back and see and talk about the state of play really quick as another pod for you guys. Appreciate all the love and support from the bottom of our hearts. Shout out to Joel. Shout out to Chad. I know a lot of you are going to watch this later when it's uploaded, but we do really appreciate you. I've been your fellow Strauss fan of the GG. That's Skip to my Lou, and we're outie.
See ya.